Can we talk about the last one he uses?
What was the double
The double whammy.
the double whammy?
I was like, "Are you fucking shitting me? Double whammy? Who
Should
wrote
have
this?"
had a cartoon sound effect that went shot.
Lights, camera, and action. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? We're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Let's get ready to join Anna and Jimmy as they go back and watch those movies you remember being oh so awesomely good. Horror movies that scared. Comedy movies that dared. Damn! And action movies so preposterously ludicrous that they defied the laws of common sense. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
Okay. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Today we are going again back to 1995. We've been here a lot. Like a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we said this back in Showgirls. It's just because we've been talking about a lot of the movies that were from this year, and it just happened that we wanted to watch them. I'm trying to remember. We did Showgirls. We did Tank Girl. We did some other ones, I think, too.
Batman and Robin, wasn't that 95 too?
That was 97.
Was it 97?
Yeah.
We did more from 95.
I think we did quite a few. There's a couple of them back that we've done. But going through, like, there are so many, like, just to put in perspective, Apollo 13, Toy Story, Ace Ventura 2, Casper, Die Hard with a Vengeance, GoldenEye, Waterworld, Congo, Seven, While You Were Sleeping, Get Shorty. These are all the top movies. Outbreak, Braveheart, Legend of the Fall, Bad Boys, Species, Clueless, something to talk about, babe. But even The Net. I would like to watch The Net.
Dude.
Oh,
I used to watch that on the regular.
Yeah. Yeah, Jumanji, Brady Bunch movie, Father Bride 2. But even like when you get past like the ones that actually made some money, you get to like Tommy Boy, Heat, Rob Roy, Major Payne, Copycat, Friday, House Guest, Billy Madison, Desperado, A Grumpier Old Man, Boys on the Side, Don Juan DeMarco, Richard Rich, Vampire in Brooklyn, Johnny Mnemonic, The Quick and the Dead, IQ, Heavyweights, like there's The Prophecy, like Street Fighter, like Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, like there's Highlander, the final dimension. I don't think I've watched that one. Tales from the Hood. Like there are a lot. You can go to any year.
Yeah.
And if you actually go to the 100 to the 200 movies that they made, we could do that year pretty much for the next year or two. Easy. We could find movies like in the 90s,
sure.
80s, and 2000s. Easy, yeah. So, yeah, we'll probably be back in 1995. But today's 1995 movie is Judge Dredd. On our YouTube thing, I said, not the cool one with Carl Urban and Lena Headey. This one with Rob Schneider and Sylvester Stallone and Diane Lane and Max von Sydow, and there's a couple other people in it. It has some good actors.
It has some great actors.
What do you remember about Judge Dredd 1995?
I remember almost nothing. Like when I say I think my brain blocked it out, but I think because I watched the new Judge Dredd, and I wanted to watch it because I was like, oh, I want to see how they redid it. Like I know I watched it. I literally can't remember anything about it. Not a thing.
I remember not loving it, but I remember liking it, and I didn't think it was bad as people said it was. Again, this is in the 90s, and comic book movies, if for people that don't remember or never saw them, they're not like the comic book movies today. They're a lot different. And
Yes.
this one I thought wasn't bad at all. I could be wrong. I've been wrong
I
a lot.
I remember liking this movie because when the remake came out, I remember I was like, "Oh, I wanna see how they did it," because I remember
Yeah,
liking the original, but I can't remember any of the movie,
the
which
remake.
concerns me.
Yeah, the remake, which I have not seen in quite some time. That I remember. I've seen it a lot more recently than this one. I remember being freaking amazing.
I really like that one.
Yeah,
I really, really like the remake, like, a lot.
yeah. So, all right. Well, let's take a look at this one. Let's start with the box office. October 21st, 1997. That's not right. It's 95. Hold on. Let me double check this here. I got it right up. I could be wrong. If you're watching, I'm sorry. If you're listening,
He's still sorry.
yeah, I'm still sorry. Well, it was 1995. And it was okay. It came out June 30th, 1995.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. It had a domestic of, okay, this is wrong. I don't know why this is like this. I do apologize. It had a budget of 90 million. That part is right. The worldwide and domestic, it's 34.6 million total. So this 113, no, that is not 34.6. So I did the domestic total and I forgot to finish the international and the total. 34.6 million, that is correct. And that's all it made.
Well, no, because Google says the box office was 113.5 million.
Did it?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
box
what it
office.
says.
All right. Well, let's just maybe I did do it right.
Maybe you did. I feel like it might be switched though, and
Yeah.
domestic might have been 78 million, and international was 34.
Oh, it could have been. Because they're telling me here on the whatchamacallit is telling me that it's just 34 million. All right. Well, we got conflicting things here. So I was looking at two different things as I was adding this in. So I got Box Office Mojo on one part of this and Google on the other. Even still, for a $90 million movie, not great.
Nope, not great.
Not great. Not horrendous. I'm sure it did well in the movie rentals and stuff. Of note, opened at number 5. Opened behind Apollo 13, number 1, Pocahontas, number 2, Batman Forever, number 3, and also opening that week, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers at number 4.
Which had a chokehold on the youth of North America.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And Batman Forever, I think I think it might have been the number 1 movie that year.
Yeah.
By week 3, Judge Dredd was at number 10. And then number 13 the following weekend. By its 5th weekend, it had exited most theaters, and Apollo 13 was still at number 1.
Oh.
And again the following weekend, just for.
Oh.
So it didn't do great.
No, it did not.
All right, let's go to the tail of the tape. 1995, it's considered action sci-fi. It too is rated R, which that I don't remember. Again, we were surprised at Tank Girl too.
Yeah.
And was Batman and Robin PG or PG-13?
I think it was PG-13.
Which is a head scratcher.
Yeah.
Like that one should have been G. But I don't.
They had different standards for.
Yes. We did talk about that. The 90s was weird.
At the time. Yeah. So like this would probably get an R rating for the violence.
Yeah.
Because the Mothers of America thought it was too violent for everybody.
And it comes in at a nice action lean 1 hour and 36 minutes.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah. Especially if it's bad. Taglines. One man is judge, jury, and executioner.
And that's not bad.
Kind of steals from Death Wish was pretty close to that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Death Wish was just like judge,
jury, yeah.
Executioner.
One man is the law.
Yeah, not bad. It's a little clunky, but
in the future, one man is the law.
Okay, better.
That's it. Synopsis. In the crime-plagued future, the only thing standing between order and chaos is Judge Joseph Dredd, Sylvester Stallone. his duty, police the violent metropolitan sprawls that crowd the decaying earth, and kill criminals on the spot if necessary. The tables are turned, however, when the manacle ex-judge Rico, Armand Assante, frames Dredd for murder, but as his opponents soon discover, not even a prison sentence can stop Dredd from doling out his signature brand of justice. Sounds corny.
So cheesy. So incredibly cheesy.
And here is the poster reveal. I like the poster, actually.
Yeah, no. Poster's good.
It's just Stallone wearing his Judge Dredd. And that's the thing about the comic books. He doesn't take his helmet off. Like, he's never really supposed to take, although he does get put in prison. So, I mean, he has to take it off. But it says Stallone, he's wearing his helmet. Judge Dredd, in the future, one man is the law. Yeah, if the movie's good, this is a great poster. This is a good, I
like it.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a look at reviews. Go to Rotten Tomatoes for the fresh. Oh, no. First, we'll do the thing. 54 critic reviews, and it comes in at 22%.
Ouch.
That's lower than Tank Girl.
Wow.
That does not bode well.
No,
100,000 audience has at 30%. It's not much better.
No, it's not.
Critic consensus. Judge Dredd wants to be both a legitimate violent action flick and a parody of one, but director Danny Cannon fails to find the necessary balance to make it work. All right, so let's start.
Disappointing.
Yeah, let's start with fresh. And you may start.
Don't listen to the doubters. With a great aerial chase scene, lots of cool guns and gadgets, and a 30s serial vibe, this Judge Dredd is above the law when it comes to mindless fun. Eddie Harrison, filmauthority.com, original score 3 out of 5.
Here's hoping, Eddie.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Accomplishes numerous visual feats, from the gruesome makeup effects for the denizens of the cursed earth to the flying car chases across the neon cityscapes. Mike Massey, Gone with the Twins. Original score 6 out of 10.
As a piece of pure production, Judge Dredd needs to be heralded as one of the best achievements of the 90s. Everything about the film's texture is a resounding success. Drew Deitch, giant freaking robot. Original score not available.
The kind of film that defines guilty pleasure. Stallone and Schneider are miscast, but the mindless sci-fi action is fun. Brian McKay, eFilmCritic.com, original score 3 out of 5.
If it can't stay true to the title character, it at least delivers a little modest popcorn fun to those willing to lower their sights. Rob Vo, Sci-Fi Movie Page, original score 2.5 out of 4.
Judge Dredd is junk, but it's fun junk with a decent pedigree. Rob Gonzalez, Rob's Movie Vault, original score B.
All in all, a better than average adaptation of a way above average comic. Mark Savlov, Austin Chronicle, original score 3 out of 5.
All right.
They weren't too bad.
No, they weren't too bad. Here's the rotten. I'll start.
Lord.
Oh, we'll take turns.
Yeah.
It stands no chance of being mistaken for a good movie. Matt Brunson, Creative Loafing, 2 out of 4.
A thunderous, unoriginal, futuristic hardware show for teenage boys. Todd McCarthy, Variety, not available.
A bomb. I dread having to ever see this turkey again. Bob Bloom, Journal and Courier, 1 out of 5.
Damn. Not as worthless as it looks, but close. Scott Weinberg, eFilmCritic.com, 2.5 out of 5.
Slice sucked. The comic book sucked worse. Eric Lurio, Greenwich Village Gazette, 1 out of 5.
Damn. For a good laugh, check it out. For good action, look elsewhere. Michael Dakina, themoviereport.com, 1.5 out of 4. Damn.
Wow. Although it is full of noise and fake firepower, Dredd simply lies there on the screen until the final scenes. Karen James, New York Times, 1.5 out of 5.
Dang, Karen. A fairly loud, pointless exercise in future cop heroics with Sylvester Stallone as a one-man cop, jury, and judge who gets set up in order to, like you can't figure it out. James Rocky, Netflix, original score 1.5 out of 5.
In the future, the world sucks. Christopher Null, filmcritic.com, original score 2 out of 5.
Dreadful. James O'Ailey, the Sci-Fi Movie Page, original score 1 out of 4.
Most of the time, the sound effects are so loud that much of the poetic and subtly nuanced dialogue is unintelligible. Barbara Glasser, San Francisco Examiner, original score 1 out of 4.
Barbara's got jokes.
Oh, that was a good one.
Sometimes it's rather amusing, but it's impossible to decide whether this is accidental or on purpose. James Berardinelli, Real Views, original score 2 out of 4.
This is just another video game without the interaction. A movie that seems to have no purpose other than simple-minded thrills and spills. Chris Hicks, Desert News, Salt Lake City. Original score 1.5 out of 4. All right.
Wow.
IMDb, the voice of reason for movies. 125,000 user ratings, comes in at 5.6 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
That's not bad.
That's much better.
All right. You may start.
How dare you vote this badly? I will destroy you all. 10 out of 10. Sammy Cunning?
Sure.
More
fun than X-Men 2 or Spider-Man 2. 9 out of 10. Film Buff 1970. Dude. X-Men 2 and Spider-Man 2 are considered the best of those movie series. As much as I want Judge Dredd to be good, I do not think it is going to be as good as X-Men 2 or Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, no. Delivers thought-provoking action in a fantasy sci-fi wrapping. 8 out of 10, Brandt's Spawn Seller.
Why do people hate this movie? 7 out of 10, Morgue 16.
Fantastic. Does not suck as badly as you'd think. 6 out of 10, Plankton Rules.
Plankton Rules. Fun. Just don't think too hard about it. 5 out of 10, El Rey the Movies. And an honorable mention. Okay, but nowhere near as good as Demolition Man. Tweakums.
I still have JD #1 comic book bought in London in 1988. I also haven't watched this movie in almost 30 years, and I still hate it. 4 out of 10, Perpetual Lights.
But you might like it more now after 30 years.
This concerns me.
We could take turns on this one. After over 20 years, it's worse than I remember. Kitten Kong Show.
Judge Dreadful. Nicholas Cameron Taylor.
Rob Schneider ruins everything in Muka.
RoboCop met Joel Schumacher's Batman in Blade Runner's house, and they had a bastard child. 2 out of 10, Cherry Blossom Boy.
Just terrible. This film makes me want to puke. 1 out of 10, Glenn is cool.
Amazing.
All right. Well, we've taken a look at the movie box office. Sort of. We took a look at the box office. We'll jump it there. Tagline, synopsis. We went over the reviews. So let us take a look at the trailer and then make our prediction.
City, we continue to grow. 73 citizen riots. Come and get us! Throw out your weapons and prepare to be judged! Judge this! Court's adjourned. Dredd, you're a legend. You are my finest student. Get Dredd!
What's the charge?
Murder. The evidence has been falsified. Guilty as charged. I am the law. I am the law.
You want chaos?
The sentence shall be life imprisonment.
I'm the chaos. Dredd?
Every crushing paw.
Excuse me? We're not together.
It's not for this council to play God. Who says politics is boring?
We're going to war. You're alone. One to be with Drake.
All right. Well, what are your predictions?
I want this to be so bad it's good because I don't think there's a universe in which I think that movie, where the trailer started out with a quote from Plato, is going to be good. So I'm hoping for so bad it's good.
Yeah, I'm looking for goofy, silly, good type thing. Yeah, because some of the effects looked a little dated, which is fine. It's 1995.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm.
I've got my fingers crossed for
just be fun,
super entertaining and fun. That's what I've got my fingers crossed for. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, we are going to go watch Judge Dredd, and when we come back, we are going to pass our own judgment.
We'll be the judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah.
You heard them. Movie time. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat, and then watch a classic kick-ass movie from whenever the one we're about to watch was made.
Ooh, wasn't that fun, kids? Digital effects in 95.
Yep.
Really, really bad. Can you believe Sylvester Stallone got paid $18 million for that?
No, I cannot.
Let's remove it. Yay. Did you watch 1995's Judge Dredd?
Yes, I did.
And your initial thoughts?
It's just a super violent soap opera. That's exactly what it is. Relatively entertaining. I don't think it was a great movie by any means. But I don't think it was a bad one either. It was just a super violent soap opera.
My video store's falling apart here. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't a great movie. I didn't hate it like you.
Yeah.
And now look, just for some retrospective, I know I harped on this in the preview a bit. Tank Girl had 45% critics.
Yeah.
And 67% audience. This had 22 and 30. I would watch this 4 or 5 times
over Tank Girl.
Over Tank Girl. Yeah. What is wrong with you people? Idiots. I'd watch this 100 times before I watched Batman and Robin.
Hey.
But Batman and Robin got way worse.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Super true.
No, it was serviceable. It had a beginning, a middle, and end.
And it starts off really strong with the whole, this is based on a comic collection of comic like covers. So I was like, you really want to push this as a comic book. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, it was like, eventually I was like, God, this is a little melodramatic. Oh, geez, the one-liners. This feels very familiar. And then I was like, this is just a longer episode of Days of Our Lives. That's what this is. Yeah. But other than that, it was good. It was good.
And there was no confusion. There were a lot of swings and misses. But it was cohesive, and I wasn't going what the fuck all the time.
Yeah, no, it was a little fantastical.
Yeah.
But also it's supposed to take place in, I don't know, the third millennium. So yeah, and I was like, dude, don't make me. Is that like 100 years from now? 200? 800? 1,000? When is that?
Yeah.
I'm like, give me a year. Give me a year. But I think they wanted to make it so that it was generic enough that until you hit the third millennium.
Yeah.
You're just like, what? But yeah, no, overall it wasn't.
Yeah, no, I laughed a couple times. I like some of the action. I don't know how this was rated R. We covered this a few times. I don't know how this was 90 million.
That's super. Well, no, I can see where it was 90 million. It was 90 million in the special effects.
Yes.
Because the sets, like that, I was like, oh, I see where the money went.
Yeah, and we'll get to that because I have strong opinions about that. Just again for just Dredd from 2012, 17 years later, it was 50 million. And if people remember, that looked
amazing.
I remember it looking. I seem to have a bad memory, but I'm pretty sure it looked amazing.
I'm gonna rewatch the 2012 Dredd Because now I'm like, I think I need to rewatch that because this feels like a need. So I'm probably going to end up watching that tomorrow in case you want to watch. And then we can have a little dissection of the 2012 Dredd.
Yeah.
And see if we still remember it. Because I remember really liking the Dredd. Like, I loved it.
I have the Blu-ray behind me somewhere.
So,
yeah.
I think you're like behind me somewhere.
Yeah. With all those movies.
In my video store.
I tell you, once we take off, I'm going to make a video store as my set. Yeah. All right. So let's go through the movie.
All right.
Actually, here we go. Wikipedia. By the 2080s, so it does have a year. I don't know if that was said in the movie.
They just said third millennium.
Oh, okay. So Wikipedia says 2080s. I don't know if that's true.
James Earl Jones told us in the beginning of this movie it was the third millennium.
Yes. Yes, he did.
And I believe him always.
Much of the Earth has become uninhabitable wasteland. While some humans manage to survive in the barren, cursed Earth, the majority of humanity resides in huge megacities with populations of tens of millions. To combat crime, the traditional justice system has been replaced by a corps of judges whose role combines those of police officer, judge, jury, and executioner. And this is all explained in way of voiceover, like you said, James Earl Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And the beginning, it gave it this like 80s B movie.
Yeah.
Beastmaster. It wasn't like that, but it gave it that. I was kind of getting excited because it had that very B movie feel, apocalyptic.
I thought it was going to feel a way more low budget.
Yeah.
Like I was looking for gritty. We just got dirty.
The beginning actually looked like that. It did look gritty.
Initially, it was like there was some grit, and you were like, okay. And then it got kind of cartoony, like cartoon gritty. And I was like, well, now it's not as vibey.
No, it might have benefited from a grainy, grim look.
Oh, 100%.
Because it was very bright and very in focus.
It really was.
Unless there was some special effects. Sometimes they looked a little grainy. Yeah. In Mega City 1, 2139, I guess that's the city. I don't know. In Mega City 1, 2139, Joseph Dredd, one of the most dedicated street judges, assists first-year Judge Barbara Hershey in ending a block war. Herman Fergie Ferguson, a hacker just released from prison, is caught in the firefight and hides inside a food dispensing robot. Dredd arrests Fergie for destruction of city property and sentences him to 5 years in prison. Okay, so Wikipedia missed a bit.
Yeah.
So we're introduced to Fergie, Rob Schneider. He's just been released from prison after 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a look at the world they have created for this movie. The wide shots are dated, the effects, the actual shots of people and where the action takes place seems very claustrophobic and small in scale because they were sets and they really look like set pieces.
Honestly, it felt like it was just a dome.
Yeah.
They were in a dome. And I was like, that feels wrong and weird. I'm like,
it looked weird.
I'm like, the cities weren't covered, were they? Like I was having
they're giant walls. No,
but it feels like it
felt like
feels like there's a dome. And it's like a fully enclosed space. And I was like, oh, but at least you see a Statue of Liberty. So you know this is New York. You're like, they're in Manhattan, I guess, because they moved it. I was like, I don't think this is Ellis Island is enough for all these people. But yeah, when you enter into the world, you're like, well, it's a fucked up New York, but at least the cabs are still yellow.
Yeah.
So that was nice. But it felt very claustrophobic.
It did.
It felt very small scale and very budget.
Yes, for being that like a mega city, it did. It felt very small.
Yeah.
And I get it. It looks like it was all created and everything, and that's what. But instead of going to a city like parts of Chicago or Oakland, where it probably already looked like post-apocalyptic, that would have been better because that's what RoboCop did.
Yeah,
like
but
they
RoboCop wasn't post-apocalyptic.
No, but it was future.
Future, yes, but not post-apocalyptic. This is supposed to be post-apoc. They should have done this in the desert somewhere.
Yeah.
That's what they should have done. Like, just if you're going to do it in a studio, then you never do an upshot to the ceiling. or to the sky. You can't, because then
No.
it ends up looking. It takes everybody out.
Yeah, they could have found some cities that were like RoboCop was like, we need a futuristic look that looks like a shithole, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I know, we'll go to Detroit.
Well, Detroit was pretty much abandoned. It used to be a hub of money.
Yeah.
So, and then like half the really nice houses were abandoned, and they've just been falling in on themselves. So they're like, perfect. This is what a rundown neighborhood looks like.
Yeah.
But you can't do post-apocalyptic and make it look cartoony, because then we're
No,
all
and
just
that's
gonna
what
be
they
like,
did.
guys.
Fergie's being dropped off to work for his work detail and living quarters in Heavenly Haven. I do like as they're flying by and he sees the nice place with the kids in the swimming pools on the roof. And he's like, this must be Heavenly Haven. And the guy's like, yeah, you wish. They descend from the top and they go down, 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 and lower. And it seems to be getting shittier and shittier as they descend until they're on the ground. And they're like, here's your stop. Careful, a ride's in progress.
Yeah.
I do like Fergie watching the riots and explosions. He's like, well, at least it's better than prison. So Fergie goes into the building away from the riot and heads to his room, where he runs into a gang armed and saying they're starting a block war.
Yes.
Who are they at war with? Who knows?
Other people on the block.
Yeah,
That's
they
it.
just smash the windows and
just
fire
start
wildly
shooting.
into the crowd.
My question is, how did they get into the apartment?
Yeah,
because the door was locked when what's his nuts Fergie ends up coming in. So I was like, if the door was locked,
yeah.
not like they busted down the door. Did they have a key? Does he have roommates? What is going on here?
And this could have been more fleshed out. Like they could have been at war with the building across the street, or because they have better food service over there. I don't know. And can we address the recycled food bots? So
Yes.
gross.
I
So
literally
gross.
I literally wrote down exactly what it said, because I was like, I can't believe it just said that. Recycled food, good for the environment and okay for you.
Okay for you.
Okay for you.
And then
I was like, that's fucked up, yo.
I'm like, do they not compost in the future? Like,
Where
use
are
it
they
to
going to
grow some.
compost? There is
grow
no
some-
ground.
Oh yeah, everything's all cement. I was gonna say, grow some fucking tomatoes or something. Yeah, recycled food. This is like one step away from Soylent Green.
Yeah.
It just sounded gross. So he gets off the street because of the riot, goes to his room, fully heavily armed gang members, whatever. He tries to weasel his way out, and they're like, there's a war going on. But this could have been better utilized, having a purpose. They seem to be just there for Judge Dredd to kill.
Yeah, there's no reason for them to be there. You don't know what the riots are for. Like, it could have been so quick, like a 2-line conversation for you being like, what are we fighting?
Yeah, inequality.
And then them saying, oh, the next gang or that block of buildings is taking all our food, so we're taking them out. Like,
kids are starving. Yeah, anything. Give them a purpose.
Yeah.
This was just like another Friday night for these guys.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's super frustrating.
And you had James Remar.
Yeah.
The leader. Remar? Yeah, he's awesome. I like him.
He is awesome.
Yeah.
He's wonderful.
So they're just shooting wildly into the crowd. The first two judges, including Hershey's sweet Diane Lane in her spandex pants.
She is a hottie.
Wow.
Still to this day, she's a super hottie.
Yeah, she aged very well.
She aged incredibly well.
Yeah.
She's 59 years old. FYI.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that makes me feel old. Not as old as Diane Lane. They're taking cover. Judge Dredd pulls up, just standing there as bullets whiz by all around them. They're like, take cover, Dredd. And he's like, don't be a puss. Be a man.
He didn't say those exact words, just
like,
for
what's
anybody
wrong with...
listening.
And then
but
he's like, what's
was
wrong
the
with
vibe.
Generation Z, you big wussies?
Actually, it pissed me off because Hershey's like, stay down, because she's with the rookie. So Hershey, super hottie Diane Lane, is hiding behind her bike. I'm like, you're a fucking judge too. And she's like, we're waiting for backup. And then Dredd shows up and just starts, well, first he just stands there for a very long time.
Yeah.
Having like a one-liner conversation with the fellow judges and the wall, apparently, because the guys are 40 stories up. They're not going to fucking hear you.
No.
But he's saying things.
Yeah.
And then he kind of passes judgment on Hershey for taking cover and waiting for backup.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Well, he
why
says that the type of gun that they're shooting is only accurate 200 feet, and they're at 300
200
feet.
meters, yeah.
But I'm like, have you ever heard of a stray bullet, motherfucker? Like, Jesus
Right?
Christ.
And that's assuming that those are the only guns that they have.
Yeah.
That's quite the assumption. But I was like, it really pissed me off because already off the bat, Hershey's being played as like soft and delicate and not like, I'm like, if you're going to be a judge, you got to be like, you got to have big brass balls. I'm
Yeah.
like, she can have big brass balls and still be safe.
Yes.
But they just played her kind of weak. And I was like, I don't like that.
So he's like, oh, and then we're introduced to his catchphrase. I knew they'd do that, or I knew they'd say that.
I knew you'd say that.
Not once was I like, nice one-liner. I hate that. Was not. I hated that.
It felt
he used
forced.
it a lot.
It
like a lot.
So forced.
Yeah, it was stupid. It was stupid the first time he used it, and the next dozen times he used it.
Well, also because he never puts any inflection on it.
No.
So you're just like, it doesn't feel natural.
No, it didn't feel natural at all.
No, it felt like he stayed up really late one night during the academy and was like, what am I going to say every time they give me their plea?
Yeah.
What am I going to say? I think this is it.
I got it. It's gold.
Yeah.
Some other people in the same building joined in the shooting. Dredd got up there really quick.
So fucking quick.
Like above them and shot through the floor and fell below and killed them. The rookie goes to kick in the door and is shot. Fucking rookie.
Fucking stupid rookie.
Dredd tells them they're under arrest because he's now going to the next room and to lay down their arms. In a twist to the thousands of action movies that came before it and after it, the bad guys do not lay down their arms.
They do
and
not.
Instead decide to shoot it out. Fergie has disappeared at this point. Dredd shoots him with all these different types of things that are in his gun, which was kind of cool.
Can we talk about the last one he uses?
What was the double
whammy?
The double whammy.
I was like, are you fucking shitting me? Double whammy?
Should have had a cartoon sound effect that went shot. Then one guy's left, James Remar. He surrenders after Dredd kills everyone else. Then, as Dredd is reading out all the charges and turns his back to him, in another twist, the bad guy, rather than listen to all the charges and take stock in his heinous action, takes the opportunity to try and shoot him.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, spoiler alert, he does not kill Dredd. Dredd kills him.
No.
We see a reporter covering the action that comes into play later, but they don't touch on this enough, I found, either. Like,
no.
This was an hour and 36 minutes. You could have added an extra 10 minutes of like the block wars, the problems within the city a bit, the reporter. It would have added a bit more depth to a really hollow movie.
I wanted more information on why we were killing the reporter. Like, I had a feeling.
Yeah.
But I'm like, can you confirm my feeling? Like, can you make it super clear other than the one incredibly short conversation that he has with his wife right before he dies?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you give me a little something? Like, just him and his producer or him and his editor, him and the camera guy. Just be like, I'm onto something big. It's going to blow everything wide open. And then, great, give me that. All I got was him doing his reporting, talking about how everything's a hot mess. And then he makes one tiny conversation with his wife and then gets shot to hell. And I was like, well, I want more information. Anyways.
Then Dredd is talking to Hershey about emotions should be against the law. Hershey is blaming herself for the rookie getting killed. I'm noticing both her and Sylvester Stallone's ass in those spandex pants at this time. They're really tight pants. And both of them
very tight pants.
Gratefully worked out for this movie.
Well, Diane Lane has always had a really great body, which is ridiculous. Like her body has not changed that much.
No.
Over the course of her career, which is really fucking impressive. And she also hasn't had like super weird fluctuations. Like, you know how sometimes like actresses will work out super hard and then they end up getting very, very small and then they go back to like their normal size.
Yeah.
And then they gain 10 pounds and everybody calls them fat. Diane Lane's been really consistent with her body, which has always been absolutely insane. Sylvester Stallone, I thought he would have a better ass. Like it was fine, but I was expecting something a little more juicy. It was not very
Well,
juicy.
I'm pretty sure that was his. I don't think he used a double.
I don't think they used a double either, but I was like, I thought you had a juicier ass. He does not, in fact, have a juicier ass.
Hmm.
Just
Different
thought I'd
stroke.
point that out.
Dredd tells the recycled food robot to halt and catches Fergie hiding in it. Charges him 6 months, but because he's multiple repeat offender, he gives him 5 years. Fergie's like, I had to hide. They're killing each other. And Dredd's like, you could have went out the window. He's like, it was 40 floors. I would have died. But he was like, maybe, but at least it would have been legal. So this is really trying to be an action comedy spoof. Not a spoof, but campy. I don't know what it's trying to be. Like
It's not trying to be campy. It's
no,
just trying
it's
to be an action comedy. It
yeah.
turned out campy.
Yes.
Not even super campy, but just a little bit campy. Where you're like, is this supposed to be a little satirical? Like, where are we going with this?
Then we get the judge council talking about the riots happening all over the place, becoming an epidemic. They don't have enough resources. The city was made for, I think it said 20 million people, and they have like 60 million.
Yeah.
And of course, we're introduced to Judge Fargo, who is the supreme commander and level-headed judge. Judge Griffin, who is more, hey, let's start a dictatorship judge. And we get an idea of what is going on city-wise. Okay, back to Wikipedia. Rico, a former judge, escapes from prison and returns to Mega City 1 to reclaim his uniform and lawgiver gun. He also finds and reactivates a decommissioned ABC warrior combat robot, attuning it to himself. Yeah, the warden delivers him a box and is talking to Rico as Rico's dismantling this box and putting it back together as a gun. I'm sitting there going, dude, that looks pretty much like a gun. Are you not seeing this?
I think it's the false sense of security because apparently in like I don't even know, like you only see these kinds of prisons in comics and cartoons.
Yeah,
Where there's
Magneto was in one like
Magneto
this.
was in one like this. There was someone from Batman who was in one like this, and I think in Arkham. But it's like this one little area, and there's a bridge that takes you to where and I'm like, what the fuck? In a city that needs space, this is what you do.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. But anyways, it was very comic and cartoony, and the fucking warden's just standing like not even a foot away from him.
No.
I'm like, do you want to take a couple steps back?
Yeah.
Just handing over boxes that are shaped like guns.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, what's that thing?
He leaned forward to get shot.
Yeah. So he escapes. Rico's played by Armand Assante.
Assante.
Awesome actor.
Oh God.
In this movie, he is. I'll wait till the end, but like he's one of the more positive things about this movie because it's like he knew what this movie was. Where everyone else was trying to be so serious, he was like, "Fuck it, I'm just going."
No, he was wonderful. Like I ended up making a note where I was like, he's got the best crazy eyes. He's got the best crazy eyes. But also, I'd like to point this out because this is how soap opera-y this movie is. The first part where Dredd takes off his helmet, they do this incredibly dramatic, like pan with the camera into a close-up of his face, and you're staring at his eyes. Now, because they've given us absolutely zero context, we know nothing. I'm just looking at Sylvester Stallone thinking, oh, they put on contacts on him.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was it.
Nice
so I was like, the dramatic pan with the close-up, I was like, what the fuck is that for? You're not giving me any new information other than this is what Sylvester Stallone looks like. But then when you see Rico in the prison, they do the close-up of his face. Same dramatic kind of swoop pan. And I'm like, oh, they're brothers. Okay, got you. Like they don't say that out loud until later on in the movie, but they have the exact same eyes. So I was like, oh, okay, they're secret brothers. Great.
Well, like, one of my kids was like, why is that character well lit? And every time they go to Dredd, it's like the shadow.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, well, he's the main character, and it's he's supposed to be dark and mysterious, and
they're trying to show how like judge he is.
Yeah.
He's more judge than anything else. His personality, his identity doesn't matter. And they got deep with the lighting, but I was like, guys, he has a helmet. You don't have to, it's okay. It's okay. Comic. We don't have to get that deep. It's cool.
No, and Armand Assante, yeah, every scene he got, he just chewed it all up. He seemed like he had a lot of fun in this movie.
I was like, you feel so unstable. Right on. Let's see how unstable you get.
Oh yeah, he brought a level of believable, I don't know or unbelievable psychoticness to his character. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes to the pawn shop to get the package left for him, including a judge outfit and a gun. He activates the warrior robot quite easily, like barely an inconvenience for this dude.
It literally looked like he just pinched a couple wires, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh. Also, we get to see Dredd teaching at the academy for some ha-has. When he was talking about the bike, if you can get this piece of shit to work, this will be yours, and yeah.
It was funny though, because it super confused me because he was supposed to be teaching ethics, and then I see him like shooting shit, trying to ride a bike. And then he's like, but ultimately it's about the law. And I was like, the fuck? Okay. And then he dismisses the class. I'm like, did you just spend 10 minutes shooting things and trying to ride a broken bike? And then you were just like, it's about the law, and then dismiss everybody?
Yeah, go read that book.
Teacher.
Go read the law book. Vardis Hammond, a news reporter critical of Dredd, is murdered and Dredd becomes the chief suspect. But how could this be? In another twist, I don't want to spoil it completely, but it may have something to do with Rico escaping prison and a certain judge's uniform.
Don't tell anyone.
Like this movie really threw out the action movie template here and tried for all new stuff. Dredd is taken to trial before a tribunal at council judges, including Griffin and Chief Justice Fargo, his mentor. He picks Hershey to represent him because he's like, if I'm going to jail, I'd like to stare at her ass and get a really good mental picture before I go.
And that was so not what he actually said.
Yeah, she was good in class or something.
Yeah, she was smart and one of the best judges he knew.
Right.
That's what she was there for.
Right.
You pervert.
Dredd is found guilty as his DNA is found on the bullets used to kill Hammond. A feature of the lawgivers imprinting the user's DNA on each bullet, a fact apparently unknown to most judges. To save Dredd, Fargo steps down as Chief Justice and, as his last request, asks the council to spare Dredd's life. Yeah, he does this to hide the fact that they used DNA to clone the perfect judge. And
they created
so well. Dredd.
They created Dredd and then the super crazy Rico. And he was like, well, this can never get out. So I'm going to sacrifice myself. Because apparently when you retire as a judge, you don't get to just go play golf.
No.
You need to take a gun and walk out into the cursed earth.
Yeah. Bringing law to the lawless.
Wander to bring the law to the law. What the fuck? You spend your entire life holding order in a fucked up city.
Yeah.
And then they're like, just walk until you die?
Yeah. Shoot. Oh, they can shoot people as they're going. I'd be shooting everybody.
Of course you would.
Without you'd hear that 30 seconds from me leaving the city to hear the shotgun going off, just shooting at people. Dredd is sentenced to life imprisonment while Fargo embarks on the long walk, in which a retiring judge ventures into the cursed earth to bring law to the lawless. Judge Griffin, who freed Rico to frame Dredd for the murder, becomes Chief Justice and instructs Rico to cause chaos in the city. Dredd is taken to the Aspen Penal Colony by air shuttle, where he is seated next to Herman, Fergie. However, the Angel Gang, a family of cannibalistic scavengers and bandits, shoots down the shuttle and brings Dredd and Herman back to the cave. I like this part. Given an R rating, the nature of the spiritual cannibals, this is a real wasted opportunity.
Yes.
I just thought there could have been a lot more here. Like we saw the one passenger being spit roasted. That was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you had Ewan Bremer.
Yes.
From Train Spotting, and Herschel from The Walking Dead. I can't remember his name.
Scott Wilson.
They were great looking. They're a great character. Mean Machine, the crazy one there, just used up way too quick.
It was a super, honestly, I would have preferred just a crash as opposed to the angel, because it felt very almost out of place. Like it came out of nowhere. And you're just like, okay. And then it was gone just as quick. And you're like, what was the purpose of that?
They should have not
Like if
done the
you flesh
Rico
it out.
thing and the Angel Gang, and
Yeah, it
would have
felt
been a great
almost,
movie.
it felt like they were trying to add more action. But I
Yeah.
was like, you didn't give us enough. Like this is a
Oh yeah.
formidable, like this is a storyline.
Yeah.
Give me this. But I'm like,
Yeah.
in this other storyline, we don't need this. Like they could have just had a crash, or they could have been shot down from someone who was trying to scavenge parts, something like that, sure. But it felt very like, you're not giving me enough
No,
of
I
these
agree.
crazy cannibals.
No, because they were cool. I did like them.
Yeah.
But I did like what little we did get at them. Yes, they were out of place. This whole movie seems like they were trying to shove so much, like too much in for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. A squad of judges investigate the crashed ship and infiltrate the cave after being instructed to leave no survivors.
Which makes me wonder why they're not questioning that. It's like the pilot's still alive, kill him. What?
Yeah. They're still judges. Like they weren't privy to Griffin's plan. So they should have been like, what?
There should have been a question.
Yeah.
There should have been this doesn't feel right.
No. Followers, sheep.
Sheep.
Intent on killing any survivors on Griffin's orders, Fargo arrives in time to save Dredd's life, but Mean Machine Angel, mortally wounds him. A dying Fargo reveals that Dredd and Rico are the result of the Janus Project, an experiment in genetic engineering intended to create the perfect judge. Dredd deduces Rico framed him for the reporter's murder using their identical DNA. He's not the top judge for nothing. Believing Griffin is trying to reactivate the Janus Project, Fargo urges Dredd to stop him. Some bad acting here.
Yes.
Like
yes,
Dredd mad at him. He has a brother. I have a brother. Then he's like, don't die. He's like all over the map here.
And then the way Fargo dies.
And it wasn't very, I made a note there. That wasn't a very convincing
a good
death scene. No.
That wasn't very convincing. It was, no.
And we also get why it was Dredd's DNA because of Rico. Blah, blah, blah. This wasn't just an action. This was a mystery wrapped in an enigma. An enigma. That's what this was. And then we meet Isla.
Let's say Isla.
Joan Chen, who is one of my favorite. She was in one of my favorite B movies of all time, The Blood of Heroes, with Rutger Hauer and Vincent D'Onofrio and Delroy Lindo. So good.
Wait, I think her character name is Ilsa.
Okay.
Sorry, I just checked the spelling on that, and it looks like it's Ilsa.
Okay. What else? Yeah, she's hot. Point that out.
She's very hot. She's a scientist.
She's a scientist. She's a scientist.
Uh-huh.
You know, in the future, all scientists are hot and wear leather.
And cranky. She's very cranky.
And knows karate.
Yes.
Yeah. In Mega City 1, Rico terrorizes the city and assassinates judges in various ways. This was great. Again, but it still seemed claustrophobic for being such a big.
It felt very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And it felt very contained, like super, not just the action, but also the dialogue, whatever. It's like, and we're blowing up and that's it. And then I'm like, give me two judges having conversations about these blowups.
Yeah.
Give me somebody being like, what the fuck is going on? Why is this happening? Who's got any information? Like something, but it's just blow up, maybe some screens. And then we go to the next like killing of judges. And I'm like, somebody's got to be figuring that these things are connected. Like something, give me something.
Yeah.
Just so that the judges don't look so stupid.
Chief Justice Griffin, intent on creating an army of judges from his own DNA, uses the situation to convince the council judges to unlock the Janus file. After the council judges unlock the file, Griffin has them killed. First, they agree with him and they all change their mind like immediately after they put in their code.
Yep. I think all he had to say was like 108 judges in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, this is just crazy.
Yeah. Pick a lane, people. Fuck. I guess this did have a couple what the fuck moments. And we also get the sneaking back into Mega City by way of the tunnel that shoots out the fire. I like that scene. That was kind of funny.
That was a good one.
The high-speed chase on the flying bikes, dated, but it was okay, but it was dated.
Yeah. There was one line that Stallone says to Schneider. Where is it? Need a lift, kid?
Oh,
And
yeah,
I was
and
like,
picks him up. Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, somebody added it in post.
Yeah,
That
was
was
horrible.
I would have preferred you didn't have that because that was super cringe.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, kids, in 1993, Steven Spielberg made a movie called Jurassic Park. And it was like, if they could do that, there was really no excuse for subpar effects.
Correct.
That was my outlook. But as we got older and figured out, it was not everybody had access to the same companies that Steven Spielberg
You
did.
can't always hire the A-team, apparently.
No. Dredd and Fergie sneak back into the city and meet with Hershey, who had discovered the Janus project independently. She had one of the recruits try to find out who the guy in the picture with Dredd is. It was Rico, but the recruit analyzes the wrong picture. And she's like, oh, that's 3 hours down the drain. But is it? No. This is a picture of Dredd and his parents. That is a fake. So.
And he says it. He's like, well, if that's not the one I'm supposed to be like checking, why is it fake? And she's like, what do you mean? And then he takes away all the fake pixels.
Yep.
And I'm like, I feel like that would have been like flagged at some point.
Yeah, I could have done that on my laptop.
I mean, couldn't we all?
Fucking Mega City, my ass. And it was bugging me where I knew the recruit from. That young looking.
Yeah, Balthazar Getty.
Lord of the Flies, Young Guns 2. I had to go and look it up.
Brothers and Sisters. That's where I know him from. And Deuce is Wild. Yeah. That's what I know him from. Also, he's a member of the Getty family, so stupid rich.
They go to the Statue of Liberty, under which the Janus laboratories are hidden. They encounter the ABC warrior who wounds Fergie and captures Dredd and Hershey. Rico uses his own DNA as a template for the Janus clone, then commands the ABC warrior to kill Griffin. Okay, this is sort of mixed up. Once again, Wikipedia. Once again, I mean, seriously, what did he do with all the money I give him?
Nothing.
First, Rico is there with, Elsa. What is it?
Ilsa.
Okay, yeah. And he's like, no, let's use a real man's DNA. And she's like, you don't have to masturbate, Rico. You just put your arm in the machine.
And that's not what she said.
He sticks his arm in.
He sticks his arm in. She's like, what are you doing? And then like with the shortest and least convincing conversation, he convinces her to double cross Griffin. And then have like this weird sexual energy after that. It's the weirdest thing.
Again, that could have been fleshed out a little bit better than that. That was
He was just like, this is a better idea or something. And it's like, well, my DNA is definitely the DNA you want. And then she's like, oh, okay. And you're like, the fuck? You're like dedicated to Judge Griffin. And now you're all like, hey, Rico.
Yeah. Not the most loyal scientist. Yeah, because she's like, that's not part of the plan. He's like, yeah. But don't worry, folks. That's the only protesting she does. That's not part of the plan. Yeah. And like Anna said, he's like, this is a better plan. She's like, oh, yeah, it's a better plan.
I'm down to do this.
Griffin goes and notices something has changed. And Rico is like, that's right, bitch. There's a new plan. And then he has a robot rip his arms and legs off. What does he say? He's like, keep his head attached so he can watch or something like that.
No, he says, rip his head off for Dredd, I think.
No, that's when he was going to rip Hershey's.
Oh,
when he's ripping Griffin. I think he says,
what he said.
Leave his head so he can watch.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed him as the bad guy. Like he was really
fucking nuts. Like, I think that's also why I think it was during that scene that I was like, this is a soap opera. Because there is something so extra about soap opera villains where you're sitting there going like, this cannot be real life. And that's exactly the vibe that Armand Assante gives you. Like you're getting, this can't be real life, but he's so convincing with it that you're just like, this is fucking nuts.
Yeah,
What
he's
the
giving you a comic book villain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, or a soap opera villain.
Or a
Both.
soap opera villain.
Both are valid. Both are I think I also say soap opera villain because you know what? There was like a secret brother and there's lots of double crossing, like the villains double crossing each other, and weirdly enough women getting really romantically involved with the villain while he's crazy. And then the unemotional, I'm like, what is happening here? It was all very soap opera.
Well,
Anyways,
I'll take your word for it because I don't watch a lot of soap operas. So
I watched a lot of soap operas in my life. Trust me.
Then Dredd, Fergie, Hershey, and her sweet, sweet Can go looking for the lab. The robot finds them, shoots Fergie, grabs Hershey.
Mhm.
Dredd is shooting at the robot all willy-nilly, who is holding Hershey, and he's
Yeah.
shooting willy-nilly with a shotgun.
Yes.
Not the most accurate firearm.
Oh,
Tends
but
to
it's
do a lot of
Dredd.
spreading when the bullets are dispersed.
But it's Dredd. Dredd
Oh,
can do anything. Dredd is
yeah.
amazing.
Oh, I'm sitting there like, no, someone save her sweet ass. Rico comes through the door and tells Mr. Irresponsible to drop the gun. Thank God.
Mr. Responsible.
Dredd does and falls him into lab. In another twist, it's full of new ones. Rico goes over the whole plan with Dredd.
Of course.
We also get to see the 60% finished judges that are being baked in those giant tubes.
Super gross.
I really thought we were going to get a lot more of them. I forgot they were just for show and teased at becoming mobile and attacking. And I was just as disappointed now as it was in the 90s.
Well,
I forgot
kept
all about
expecting
it.
them to like get up and start fighting, and I was like,
I forgot all about it. And I'm like, do they fight? And I was like, oh, cool. And then not cool.
They did.
They did not. No.
They just kind of hung out. You can see that they ran out of money.
Yeah.
They were like, we can't paint like people. We can only have one that's a painted person to open up their eyes. But other than that, it's got to be mannequins.
And actually, there's a thing in trivia that addresses that and makes you go, well, why the fuck didn't you? We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. And we're back to Wikipedia. Fergie, despite his wounds, disables the ABC warrior as Dredd fights Rico, while Hershey fights his assistant, Dr. Hayden. Ilsa. Ilsa. I think I like their fight better than Dredd and Rico's.
I did not.
No?
And here's why.
They didn't kiss. That's no.
No. Funnily enough, not that. No, it's because it felt very much like a girl fight. Like hair pulling. And I was like, God damn it again. They make her like, don't get me wrong, a good hair pull, a good scratching, like valid. Okay. That's if you can't fucking swing a punch, like that's how you're gonna fight.
Yeah.
I've seen guys also fight like that.
Yeah.
Jimmy's flashing back to elementary school when he was fighting like that.
Yeah. Just slapping away.
Good slap. Just a little. So it kind of made me mad though, because I'm like, this is supposed to be a judge who has completed the academy, done a year as a judge, and you're fucking fighting like you're a high school cheerleader. I actually no, I take that back. I've seen high school cheerleaders fight harder than that and dirtier. So I was like, what the fuck? And then we know that Ilsa has the ability to fight, but she's like half-assing it. It was a very half-ass fight between them. And that kind of pissed me off because I'm like, give me better.
See, I thought Stallone and Rico's wasn't as good as it could have been.
That one also was half-assed.
Yeah.
Like I was like, for the final fight, like the big, like I was like, this is very disappointing. This is not what I want. Better. I want rougher. I want dirtier.
Yeah.
Like I want a fight. If you're gonna give me a fight, give me a fight. None of this half-ass bullshit.
Rico activates his clones prematurely, but they fail to stop Dredd. They don't fail to stop Dredd. They didn't even try. The premature clone activation results in the destruction of the Janus laboratory. Dredd pursues Rico to the top of the Statue of Liberty, and a final struggle sees Rico fall to his death. Having recorded the entire event, Central, the city's controlling supercomputer, broadcasts the information, clearing Dredd's name. The remaining judges ask Dredd to become the new Chief Justice, but he refuses, preferring to remain a street judge. And that was our movie.
It was a disappointing ending. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, I'm going to work, and then Hershey's all like, "But why?" And da da da, and he's like, "The law." And then she kisses him, and I was like, "Girl, this is gonna be the most emotionally unsatisfying relationship of your life." And you look kinda like a moron chasing after a guy who has shown you 0 fucking interest. 0. But fine, whatevs. It was a little bit of a letdown, but I'm like, I feel like they were setting up for a sequel.
Yes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had high hopes for a sequel.
Yeah. They were like, "We
that
need an ending that doesn't feel super final. We need something that can be open."
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, great. He's still a street judge. There's a possible romantic relationship. Amazing. But, like, we're not gonna, like, concrete anything. And we never got a sequel, and that's okay.
All right, so let's go over YouTube scores. For those listening, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and rate this and other movies as buy it, rent it, stream it, or skip it. Okay, where did it go here? Again, I don't have the thing. So buy it, awesome 90s comic book movie, came in at 50%. 50.
Oh.
50.
Surprising.
Yeah. Rent it, goofy sci-fi and one-liners, 38%.
Okay.
Stream it and compare 2012 version, 0. And skip it, I Am the Law, gets old quick, 13%.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're all idiots. What is your score?
Okay, my score is a little bit complicated because while this was not a terrible, terrible movie, it wasn't a good movie either. It was a little bit melodramatic. It did have some pretty big plot holes that you kind of just had to fill in with your own imagination. The dialogue was not the greatest. It was a very complicated story for a plot that didn't need complications. Like, they gave too much in some places and not enough in others. However, I was relatively entertained. I did laugh at a few parts. I don't know if I was supposed to laugh at those parts, but I did. And I'm not mad that I watched it, and I'm not regretting watching it. I rented it, and I'm not mad at that. So while I say I'm not mad at renting it, I'm not necessarily gonna recommend people rent it. However, if you wanna stream it, I fully recommend that, and I especially recommend it to follow up with 2012, Dredd. That's my recommendation. So the fact that nobody voted for that, I'm like, "Guys, that's kinda sad."
Yeah.
But if you do decide to rent it, I don't think you'll be mad about it. And I'm not gonna say don't rent it, 'cause it's mid. It's just a mid-action comedy.
Yeah.
But it's not terrible, and it had potential. And Diane Lane is hot.
Yeah.
Armand Assante is a great crazy. Like, he's got serious crazy eyes. So I'm gonna solidly say stream.
All right.
What about you?
All right, my score. Judge Dredd is like they took parts of RoboCop and RoboCop 2, added some more humor, and made a mediocre action movie set in a futuristic setting that looked like it was made on a TV set. Dredd, being RoboCop with no emotion, betrayed and framed, only to redeem himself, and RoboCop 2 with the big giant robot thing. It was not confusing. It was enjoyable at times for a mediocre action movie set in the future. I'm a Sylvester Stallone fan, and this is nowhere near his best. It's not his worst either. I laughed or giggled. I ogled. The acting was serviceable. The set pieces were obviously sets. The effects were on the side. I bought this movie. Had I known then what I know now, but I bought it for the same amount it was to rent. Will I watch it again? Probably. Now that's in my digital library, I can see myself running across it a few years from now. I'm watching it and complaining about the same things I have here. But it's not horrible. It's just a big budget, great cast who made a mediocre movie with mediocre performances. I will say Rob Schneider was funny, and Armand Assante gave a above average performance. Actually, the Angel Family gave great performances. Crazy
They
too.
did. They
Yeah.
did.
I say stream it. I know it's hard to say stream it if you can't find anything else in this day and age, but if you remember liking it or thinking it was all right, it's not the worst idea. It's just a mediocre, serviceable movie that you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I was entertained. It wasn't like, oh my God, is this almost over? It was fine.
I call it entertainment light. Like, I was lightly
Yeah.
entertained. I wasn't
Yeah.
fully invested. I wasn't waiting to see what was gonna happen next or, having it all flashback to me, but I was like, it's not bad. It's
No.
it's kinda good. Not great by any means. Like, very clear and not like a solid, very good, like, action movie. But, I mean, it was pretty good.
Yeah. And Rotten Tomatoes, 22%. That means 22% of the people actually enjoyed it and recommended it, where the others did not. Back in 95, would I have recommended you go into theaters and watch it? Probably not.
No.
It would have been like, wait till it comes in Blockbuster. But yeah, mid-late. That's a good phrase for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was fine.
All right. Well, let's go to trivia. There's some good trivia. This was not a great production. There was a lot of fighting and stuff in it too. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, here's the first one. Rather than put it down, I got a piece of it off of YouTube. So let's take a look at it.
He fell down a flight of steps and said, "Welcome to the world of action."
You're a lot of fun to be with, Dredd! Oh, God. Get stop!
You okay? And then he proceeded to become tortured and beaten and nearly destroyed throughout this film because it's quite rough.
It took 2 seconds for this to happen. Your ticket price is about $7.50 these days in the theater. That's 30 cents worth right there.
As soon as I fell on my face, Stallone told me what it was, and he said, "You know, they say comedy's hard, death is easy. Action pictures are hard." And he's absolutely right. Action, I got more than I knew.
Bullet wound, contusion.
That looked like it fucking hurt.
It really was a contusion on his leg. I'm like, that isn't even a bruise. Like, that, you damaged yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And then you see the clip of him falling, and his head bounces.
Bounces off the floor. For those listening, it was him coming down the stairs following Dredd. And he trips on a few steps and falls and head first into the floor. And it bounced.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But
that
also
looked
those
painful.
stairs, I think they built those, because those stairs, Sylvester Stallone jumps.
Yeah.
I think they built them for him to clear the jump, but not for regular people to run down. 'Cause I was like, those steps are super narrow. You can't get a full foot on them.
No.
Well, we know who they cared about on that set.
Yeah. All right. You may start.
I'm ready, Freddie. Director Danny Cannon was so disheartened over his constant creative disputes with Sylvester Stallone that he swore he would never again work with another self-absorbed actor, which was his own opinion of Stallone. He also claimed that the final version was completely different from the script due to the changes Stallone demanded. So we're saying this is Sylvester's fault.
Yeah. In later interviews, Sylvester Stallone said he felt the film was supposed to be a comedy action film and demanded rewrites to make it even more comedic. The director and screenwriter, however, had intended a darker, more satirical approach, which led to many difficulties behind the scenes.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And when you're Sylvester Stallone, so you know he's going to get what he wants. 2, if you're Sylvester Stallone and you read the script and agreed to it, you kind of should follow the script. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Like, you can't get in there and be like, let's start making changes, because I don't think it's funny enough.
And the problem with someone like him is that he's not just an actor, he's also a director, and a very good director, like an Academy Award winning director. Well, I don't know if he won an Academy Award. Did he win for Rocky?
But I know he wrote and directed Rocky, didn't he? Because nobody would hire him as an actor.
No one would,
so he literally wrote his own movie. I think directed it, if I'm not mistaken. And had it made because he was like, this is the only way I can get work. So I think in his head, he's like, I'm a fucking genius.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing. The moment where Dredd takes off his helmet caused a lot of controversy. Judge Dredd would never remove his helmet in the comics. He took it off only once, but his disfigured face was covered with a sensor band.
So yeah, you never actually saw him in the comics without his helmet. And I believe in the 2012 version, he doesn't take it off. I don't think he takes it off.
I don't remember him taking it off.
I don't remember him taking it off, no. Could be wrong. In the Dredd comics, tradition dictates that Dredd does not take off his helmet. Thus, his face has mostly only fleetingly appeared in full. But the producers obviously would not allow an expensive performer such as Sylvester Stallone, $18 million to do this movie, to never show his face clearly.
The scene in which Fergie, Rob Schneider, mocks Dredd was improvised, and it turned out to be so funny to see Rob Schneider making fun of Sylvester Stallone that it was kept in the movie. That makes me happy.
At first, the villain for this movie was going to be Judge Death, a monster who makes living illegal. But it was too expensive to create Death's skeleton body, and Rico had more to do with Dredd's past.
Interesting. This was the first movie to release simultaneously with a video game.
Yes, and for those listening, if they remember, the Super Nintendo one was actually well received. The only complaint was the bosses at the end of each level were ridiculously hard. The Game Boy and Genesis one, not so good.
No.
According to Rob Schneider, Sylvester Stallone called him and offered him the role of Fergie after his first choice. Joe Pesci turned it down.
I could never imagine Joe Pesci in this.
And if it was rated, could you imagine? He's like, Mr. I am the law, you motherfucker. It just goes off. That would have been awesome.
It would have been awesome. To bring Hammerstein to life, they were going to use a man in a suit, but Danny Cannon insisted they built it for real. It's powered by hydraulics and controlled by 5 remote operators. Interesting.
Wow, 5 remote, and it really didn't do a lot.
No, it didn't.
No. Christopher Walken turned down the role of Rico. That would have been Joe Pesci and Christopher Walken. It would have been a way.
That would have been a very different movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
In an interview, Rob Schneider claimed that the film crew gave Sylvester Stallone extra fire retardant on the back of his costume for the fiery exhaust shaft scene, while he, on the other hand, got no fire retardant at all. Oh boy.
That's kind of funny. Sylvester Stallone had never heard of Judge Dredd until he was offered the role.
I mean, not surprising.
Yeah.
John Wagner, the creator of the comic character on which the film was based, said when interviewed by Empire in 2012, the story had nothing to do with Judge Dredd, and Judge Dredd wasn't really Judge Dredd, even though Stallone was perfect for the part. He did, however, praise the production value and budget of the film. In an interview with Total Film, he said that the film had tried to do too much and told the wrong story. Amen. Hallelujah.
Yeah, it really felt like that.
Yeah.
The Lawmaster bikes were built from scratch. They were so powerful, only stuntmen could drive them. The actors were given safer, lower-powered moped versions. Can you imagine? He's super powerful, and like Sylvester Stallone has to drive this moped version of it. Here comes the bitch on his moped.
From the beginning, the film was intended to receive a PG-13 rating. Due to excessive violence, the MPAA refused to downgrade the initial R rating despite repeated appeals by the studio and Sylvester Stallone. Mostly because of schedule constraints, the film could not be recut and was released with an R rating.
This might have done a lot better at PG-13, obviously.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Like, I don't know what they would have had to get rid of to get. They should have tried a little harder.
Honestly, it wouldn't have been that hard to get to an R rating.
No.
They were pretty, or to a PG-13 rating, they were pretty close to it. So
Yeah.
it would have been just a few scenes to remove it.
David S. Ward. Oh, no, wrong one. Sorry. Danny Cannon was apparently not allowed on set for the post-production reshoots.
Say what now?
Yeah, so the director wasn't allowed on set for the post-production reshoots. So him and Stallone really did not get along, like at all.
That is so fucking insulting.
Yeah, very.
As a director, you can't do post-production. Oh, fuck, no. After the success of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, 1991, Peter Hewitt was lined up to direct this film, with Arnold Schwarzenegger set to play the title role and Michael Ironside as Rico. Ooh.
Which is basically just Total Recall.
Kinda, yeah. I'm feeling like that really would have worked.
It could, yeah. Like I could see Arnold Schwarzenegger as Judge Dredd, and I could totally. I love Michael Ironside. He could have totally been.
Who doesn't
Rico.
love Michael Ironside?
A stunt woman was used for the headbutt in the fight scene between Hayden and Hershey, but Diane Lane and Joan Chen did the rest of it themselves.
Just for the headbutt?
Yeah, I guess they didn't really want to.
They didn't want to fuck up their faces.
Now, before you read this one, I wrote my review because I thought it was the other way around. I was in my score.
Yeah. Okay. RoboCop 1987 borrowed so much from the Judge Dredd comics that it delayed this production for years. It was so successful and similar that the producers had to wait before going ahead with this movie. Interesting.
And I thought it was RoboCop. I mean, Judge Dredd borrowed everything from RoboCop, where it was actually RoboCop borrowed everything from the comics.
Yeah, but movie-wise,
and it was very similar. That's why I said
similar. It. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, RoboCop came out before this movie, so I mean, it makes sense.
So RoboCop stole from Judge Dredd the comics, and Judge Dredd the movie stole from RoboCop the movie, who stole from
It's just a vicious cycle.
The only real difference is RoboCop I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I did see it quite a few times. RoboCop was a very good movie.
I remember RoboCop being a very good movie.
Yeah. That's definitely one we should go back and watch.
Oh, for sure.
Danny Cannon turned down the chance to direct Die Hard with a Vengeance 1995 in order to make this film.
Oh, Danny. I bet you're regretting that.
Oh, Danny boy.
I wonder if still to this day he's sitting there going, should have done Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Because Die Hard with a Vengeance was awesome. Awesome.
I did like it.
Yeah.
I did. There were over 70 clones on set. Some were dummies and others were stuntmen in prosthetics. The actors in the suits had to shave off all their body hair before costumes could be glued on. Say what now? And
why wouldn't you just make bigger well, I guess you want it to look as human as possible, but
no. Like, I get why they would like paint them on. I'm like, sure, that's fine. But like now I know where they wasted all their money.
Yeah,
like,
and if you were gonna do this, if you're gonna go through all that trouble, why not use them?
Because I think only 2 of them moved independently.
Yeah, one opened its eyes, and then one was on a tube laying down and sat up.
Yeah, like only 2 moved independently. So I'm like, what the fuck?
But you could have 2 try to get out and kill him or something. Yeah, I was just really disappointed. Yeah,
do something.
Prior to production, Danny Cannon proclaimed that this would be the Ben-Hur 1959 of comic book movies. But unfortunately, Sylvester Stallone had different plans, and Cannon's vision was unfortunately compromised.
Jesus, that makes me so sad. The Coen brothers were offered the chance to make the film. They turned it down in favor of Fargo, 1996. Coincidentally, Max von Sydow's character is named Fargo.
Thank God. Thank God they turned this down.
Oh, God.
Fargo is one of my favorite movies from the 90s. I love that movie.
I haven't seen it in so long.
No. Rennie Harlan and Richard Donner were the first choices for director.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's it for trivia. Now, is there anything else you would like to add to Judge Dredd?
Not to Judge Dredd. This movie did what it... I guess wanted... No, this movie did not do what it wanted to do. Now I understand why it feels like a little bit of a hot mess and like it doesn't know what kind of movie it is.
Yeah.
Because when they were making it, they didn't know what kind of movie it was.
No.
Sylvester Stallone wanted one movie, Danny Cannon wanted another, and they tried to meet in the middle, and then Sylvester Stallone was like, no, you can't come here for post-production reshoots. What the fuck?
Well,
that's not okay.
No, and the result was a mediocre...
Like, it's all right.
It's all right. Yeah, it's all right.
That's about it. That's all I got for that. Although, I will say this. I just wanted to bring a little bit of love to Bill Cobbs, who passed away yesterday. Was it
Bill
yes? Yeah, yes.
Cobbs.
He is an actor. He was in Night at the Museum, The Bodyguard, Air Bud. If you can remember that. New Jack City,
Air
Demolition
Bud.
Man. He played the older cop. Remember the older black cop in the...
Oh, I know him. Yeah.
And he's in one of my favorite movies of all time, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Funnily enough, I watched that yesterday.
He's in Demolition Man.
Yeah. He's... God, I love
He's
him.
still in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer?
I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. He's in it.
Oh, I think this guy directed that.
Really?
I could be wrong. I think so.
No, correct. He did.
He did?
Danny Cannon directed I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I did.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I rewatch it all the time.
Probably just as cheesy as Judge Dredd.
Actually, no, it's cheesier. It's cheesier.
And now we know.
It's even more ridiculous, and it's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
ever.
and after reading, going over all the trivia, we know why Sylvester Stallone didn't make an appearance, and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
And who would he have played? The groundskeeper?
That would be awesome. Oh.
But yeah, I know. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him because I mean you've seen him in so many
He's been in a
movies and like he's been in everything, and you know his face, you know his name, and he passed away yesterday. So I just wanted to give a little shout out to him. 90 years old. Impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming back to 1995 again. Oh, some of the other movies were Hackers. Oh shit, I had it. No, I can't remember. Hackers was in 95 too. When we're talking about Tank Girl, Showgirls, we go to 95. There's a couple more that we did in 95.
Yeah.
Hackers was one of them. But thanks for coming back to 1995 with us to go over Judge Dredd. Like we said, stream it. Don't buy it. Don't rent it. I mean, if you see it for 99 cents, maybe. But yeah, try to find it on a streamer.
Yeah, try it. Don't go out and actively go to spend money on it.
No, don't. No, but it was all right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until the next movie we remember liking.
Congratulations. You just had one of your childhood movie memories vindicated. Or they just eviscerated it. I don't know. This is a generic one-size-fits-all type of ending to the podcast. So thank you for listening, and please join Anna and Jimmy next time for another episode of the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. If you dare to go back and watch that movie you remember liking,